How's it going, guys? Altus Tech here, and today I thought I'd bring you a tutorial that I have been putting off for quite a while now, and that is how to design a modern house in SketchUp. A more in-depth look at the process going into designing a modern house in SketchUp. Now, I've got a lot of comments on my original attempt at this, saying that it was too fast, and I completely agree with that. So I thought I'd remedy that problem by going in depth and letting you guys take a look at the process that I use in designing a modern house. A few things to note: everybody has their own process. So after watching this video, you might have a completely different process than mine, and that's fine. Everything works as long as you have a working understanding of SketchUp. You should be fine. Another thing to note is, everybody has a varying there's a varying degree of detail that you can add, and I'd say that I'm somewhere in the middle. So you might add way more detail than I do. You might add way less. It doesn't really matter. Everything should look pretty good. But other than that, yeah, I think we're pretty much ready to get started. So I've got my blank document here, and what I like to do first is I just like to lay down a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that with the rectangle tool here. I'm just going to lay down a lot. Looks good. And the first thing that I like to do after laying down a lot is just get the general shape of my house down. So let me grab the rectangle tool again, and I'm just going to plop down a rectangle right in the center of my lot. I'm going to go ahead and refocus my view here. I'm going to take my measuring tool, and I'm just going to measure out about 13 feet for the first floor. And I'm just going to make a very small house for this tutorial, just to cut down on time, because otherwise it could take, hours. Okay. Next, I think I'm going to go ahead and hollow out a section over here. And this will be the doorway of the house. Okay. Next, I'm going to add the roof, and I'm going to add a traditional styled roof. And that works a lot in modern architecture. You don't have to have everything, all boxy as you see a lot of modern houses these days, because that gets old. You want to develop your own personal style at designing architecture. That's one of the fun things about designing a modern house. You get to find your own style. But anyway, yeah. So we've got the basic shape down here of the house. Now, what I like to do next is I like to start it with the windows, and the windows are really easy to do. So I'm going to go ahead and position myself here. I'm going to grab the rectangle tool. I'm just going to plop down a rectangle here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to plop down rectangles within it. So the outer rectangle is going to create a window frame, and the inner rectangles are going to create window panes. So it's really easy. Click on that. Control. Use the move tool. Hold Control. Make a copy. Just slide that down. Slide another one down. Whoops. Slide another copy down. And then we can take the move tool. Whoops. And, SketchUp can be a little bit finicky. Oh. But we'll get it. There we go. Select this. Move tool. And just bring that up. And then we'll go ahead and delete these two lines here. And then we've got the basic shape of our window. So as you can see, it's extremely easy to do. Now what we have to do is add some texture. I think I'll add a metal. Go ahead and make that dark. And then I'll extrude that to create a window frame. Oops, a little bit too much. And there you go. We have our windows. No transparent texture yet, but we'll add that a little bit later. Next, we're just going to go ahead and make a copy of this. Select that. And we will copy one or two over. So again, holding Control, having the Move tool selected. Just move that to the side there. And it's really just that easy. Okay. Now we'll add another styled window to the front here. Somewhere over here. And I'll just make that a... in fact, what I can do is I'll just add 2 lines here. And then I'll just go ahead and copy all the edges. Whoops. Bear with me here. Just going to copy all the edges here. Oops. And hopefully that we can drag this along here and just create a smaller window with the same general shape as the 2 larger ones. And hopefully that'll look pretty good. Hopefully. A lot of trial and error involved in this process as well. You guys should be aware of. Okay, so I believe, let's select that as well. We have the window selected, so we're just going to go ahead and select the move tool again. And we'll just slot that over. Perfect. And slot that over a little bit more. Perfect. Okay, so we have all the windows in place here. Let's go ahead and add the texture. Grab a transparent texture, translucent I should say. Grab the translucent blue. Whoops. Guess we'll have to add a add another layer here. There we go. Okay, so go ahead and edit this to make it look a little bit more fancy. I think I'll make this a dark blue. Maybe bring it a little bit towards the green side. Okay. Looking pretty good so far. Now I'm going to go ahead and start work on the doorway here. Now I think I'm going to add a large frame, so I'm going to measure this out here. 1113. Measure this down. Okay. Drag this along. Delete that. And then we'll measure this out again, just to make sure everything's symmetrical. And add the rest of the door frame here. Perfect. Delete that again. And we'll go ahead and delete these lines here. That'll get... Whoop. We can just redraw that actually, so... Not a big deal. Go ahead and do that now. Delete that again. And apparently we're not going to be able to do anything about that. Sometimes you run into little issues like that, but just work past them. They're not really a huge deal. And it really won't affect the final design. Okay, so what we want to do next is extrude the frame here. Just a little bit. Perfect. And now we'll go ahead and texture it with the same texture we use for the window frame. So we'll go ahead and sample that. Oops. Go. Go ahead and sample the frame. Add the outline here so we can texture the inside as well as the outside. And then we'll go ahead and texture that. And don't worry about the lines that kind of crisscross the frame, because in rendering, the rendering software won't render those lines, so they really won't make a difference in the final rendering. Okay, so we've got the frame down. Now I think I'm going to go ahead and add the wall texture just to see how this is all going to fit. So I think I'm going to add a brick texture. I'm going to make that very dark. Okay. Okay, so we've got the very basics down for the facade of our house now. I think it's looking okay so far. Not, not really anything spectacular yet, but it'll get there. I think I want to delete part of this roof going upwards, so go ahead and do that now. Then what we want to do is, first off, fix this gaping hole that is now exposing everything in our roof. There we go. And then we want to extend the frame upwards. So, pretty straightforward process. Or not so straightforward. Maybe it'll do it this way, just get the frames, delete the center. And then measure this out. Perfect. Move this along here. Delete the center, and then we'll go ahead and texture this. The same texture. And then finally we'll just go ahead and extrude this. And then we will connect them using the line tool. Just make little shapes at the end. And then texture these. Perfect. Okay. And lastly, we'll just go ahead and connect the innards so we can texture that as well. Center. And then connect these as well. And finish up. There we go. Okay, so we have the frame done for our doorway. Go ahead and close this up again. It's not going to agree with us here. Okay. Well, actually, maybe I should do that another way because we have to add the door, so just drag. There we go. Okay. So, we've got the doorway down here. It's looking pretty good. Now what I think I'll do is I'll just go ahead and add some more details to the windows. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and just trying to figure out what I want to do. And, this is what takes a while. You have to kind of ponder what details you should add around certain things like the windows. So I'm going to go ahead and think about this, and I'll be right back once I've thought about it, decided, and implemented it, and hopefully it'll look pretty good. So I'll see you guys in about a second. And we are back with a pretty major change. I decided those windows weren't going to work, so I switched them out with this large window. Same basic principle, though, so don't worry, I didn't leave you guys out of the loop on anything. Just, just made some rectangles and copy them over. But I think that this new window looks much better. And, yeah, so we're pretty much done with that window. And now we're just going to go ahead and worry about the doorway over here. So, first off, we're going to measure the height of the door using the measuring tool. Make that about 7.5 feet. Take a rectangle. I'm not going to measure the width. And I'll just put down a door. Now doors are, pretty easy. You just basically want to, or this is how I do them. I usually just put a large window and then also put a door frame. Make it symmetrical. Grab the circle tool here and just add a very small doorknob. And we should want to texture the door frame. And for the door, we're not going to texture the door for now because we might want to pick something that looks good with the wall texture. But we'll texture the door's window, so we'll go ahead and sample that from here. I also changed the glass texture to something a little bit more dark and less blue. Okay, so got that down. We'll add a metallic texture to the doorknob. Corrugated shiny, okay, that works. And then we'll just go ahead and extrude that. Not going to really add all that much detail because, again, I only add a medium amount of detail, so yeah, that'll look good in a render. Okay, so we've got the door down. Let's go ahead and add the wall texture here. And I've decided that I'm going to put a large window here as well. But yeah, I think it's turning out pretty well so far. Very contemporary design, very simple, very elegant. I'd like to live here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and extrude the door frame. And then we will try to decide on... Actually, we'll add a frame as well on the... Or no, we won't. We'll just extrude the door later. Let's find a texture for the door, though. Let's look in wood. Whoops. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Then we'll just go ahead and extrude the door just a little bit. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so we have the door down now, and the house is really starting to shape up. Next we'll go ahead and tackle this large window here, and I want to kind of mimic the design of the window in the front wall. So again, just this will act as our large outlining rectangle, so this will act as our window frame, and all we have to do is add smaller rectangles inside. Move tool, control. Take our move tool again, and we'll just go ahead and extrude that to create one very large window pane. And then we will do the opposite on the other side. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this, move tool, control. These look lined up. And then we'll place that there. Grab both of these, and we'll just plop them right there. Perfect. All right. Add the texture to the window frame. Go ahead and extrude. And then we will go ahead and add the glass texture, and I think that looks pretty cool. Really liking the house so far. Okay, and yeah, I think that looks really good. Next up, let's just go ahead and add a roof texture, since that's kind of, visible from the front, and we're just adding the front facade details again, just to make this as quick as possible. We're already running on 20 minutes, so yeah. Go to roofing, and let's try this out. Alright, yeah, that looks pretty good. Next up, we're just going to go ahead and add the trim to the top here. So again, just a rectangle all the way to the side. Add some of this texture, and then extrude. That's way too much. There we go. Okay. think we're going to add one more window right here. And we'll figure out what we're going to do here in a moment. Okay, so I will be right back. I'm just going to add one more window right here. I'm just going to cut this out because, you know, we're kind of spending a lot of time on this. But yeah, I'll be back in just a second. So, see you then. And we are back. Ended up just adding a very small window here, which I think adds a good level of detail to the front facade. I also went ahead and textured the inside of our enclave here with the wood texture we use for the door. Go ahead and texture the bottom here. I forgot to do that. But yeah, I think we're just about done the front facade here. What I'll do is I'm going to add a chimney right here. So, grab our circle tool. Make a good sized circle. Go ahead and grab, actually we'll make another circle in the center as well. Go ahead and grab a metal texture. That'll work. And we'll texture that as well. Go ahead and extrude this. Then extrude this. Actually, I think that we're going to have to do this another way because it's not going to turn out very well. We're going to use actually a square for this. We'll just texture that. Make it rise. And then we'll add an angle to it so it'll level out. We'll just guesstimate and then we'll cut off the excess. Delete. Texture. Extrude. And then we'll go ahead and use the circle. And this is adding, you know, a pretty good level of detail, and it's going to turn out really well when I render it. Little things like this that, you know, really make a house pop. So when you get the chance, for sure, just add little details like this. Okay, how's that looking? Pretty good. Now we'll just add the shield at the top. Texture. And then we'll go ahead and add the other side. And again, I'm not really measuring this, you know, I might usually, but I'm just trying to kind of finish up here because we are running very long. Just imagine if I was going to do the entire house. Yeah, it'd take a really long time. Okay, get a good angle. Yeah, there we go. Extrude. Whoops. Doesn't want to, so we'll do this the hard way. And we'll texture. And there we go. Perfect. Alright, so we have our chimney, we have our front facade, and I think we are pretty much done. Now, let me just explain what I do next. Basically, I'm just going to add property, so I'm going to add grass, I'm going to add, you know, paths, I'm going to add a driveway, and then I'm going to go ahead and go into the 3D warehouse, which is where I'm going to get some plants to put in the front. I'm going to put some bushes, maybe a tree or two. And then it's done for render. It's going to be ready for render. So I'm going to do all that. I'm going to finish up the house. and then I'm going to render it, and you guys can see the final result. But that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Hopefully this helped you guys out. Please leave comments in the comments section below to tell me if it did. And yeah, hopefully you guys can go ahead and design some really nice houses, and for sure share them with me, because I'd love to see them. And as always, please make sure to favorite, rate, and subscribe, especially that last one. Really helps me out. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.